Vatcher from TriVatch Games, and today I'm going to share with you another gameplay video. I'll be introducing you to the Greatest Claim. Now, if you own this game, you'll notice what's in front of me here. It's a little bit different than what's in this box, and that's because this is the Greatest Claim Go, is what we're calling it. And what I have out is a version of the game that's not in production yet. It's called the Greatest Claim Pro. And major difference that you'll notice is it has these plastic gems. The components are also thicker and heavier, and are not meant for compact travel. This game is also $15.99. This one's going to be quite a bit more. But it plays the exact same, and I prefer playing with this one, so that's what I'm going to be playing with here. Now, I'm going to be jumping right into this game and going very fast, just so you can see the gameplay, and I'm going to try to get through a whole round of this game. I am playing solo, and this is set up for solo. If you're playing with a group of people, this would be about more than four times the size of what I have here. But it is a game that can be played solo, and you're just trying to beat your record every time. So you're trying to get a higher and higher score. Now, when you're playing with other people, the goal when you're playing alone too, is to get as many gems out of the caverns as you can before the whole thing collapses. And it will inevitably collapse. And so you're trying to be as efficient as possible and break into the most valuable caverns as quickly as you can, and position your miners and get as much as you can out of it, and then position your miners in a way that you could get out safely when it comes down. Okay, so I've got everything set up here, but I forgot to give myself my starting gems. Okay, so when you're starting your game, you start with your number one miner and these three items, and these things sit over here. And yeah, so let's go ahead and go in. I'm going to start, and I'll just explain things as we roll. So let's go ahead, and the first thing you do is at the beginning of the player rounds is you roll to set the value of the gems. And so this sets it for everybody for that round. So let's go ahead and do that. I rolled a 1, so this is what my gems are going to be valued at this round. Not very good. That's okay though, because I start with a bunch of stuff. We're good. Okay, so on your turn, there's 3 things you do. Technically, I look at it, there's really like 4, but we're going to just break them into 3. So first thing is you decide if you're going to buy, and this has to happen first. And in this case, the gems aren't very valuable right now. And the only things I could buy are I could hire more miners, and it costs 200 to hire these, or I could bring in the cart, and it costs 200 to bring that in. And so it's impossible for me right now to purchase anything. These items, once you use them and then you lose them, you got to buy them again. They cost 100 each time. These here, once you buy them, they're in the game permanently, and they cost 200. Okay, so I'm not going to buy. The next thing I can do is I can move, and moving is allowed through caverns that are connected. And as of right now, nothing is connected to my home base here. We call this the claim card, or the claim tile. And connections happen through these little entryways into the different caverns. And currently, there's nowhere to move. So I'm not going to buy, I'm not going to move. And the last thing I do is mine. There's 2 parts to mining. So both of them run off of this roll, the mining roll. So I'm going to go ahead and roll my mining roll. Okay, so I rolled a 4 and a 3. So the first thing that the player whose turn it is looking at and watching for on the mining roll is breaking into caverns. So that's the first thing that they're doing with this roll. So the way breaking into caverns work is on the back of these caverns is a roll requirement. And so I need to roll a 1 to break into this. And it could be the black dice or the white dice. It doesn't matter. It only matters on these where it specifically marks a black 6 and a white 1. That is an exact roll that you need. So black or white 1 would have worked here, but I didn't roll any of those. Now you have tools to help you break into caverns and to do other things as well. So I'm going to go ahead and use one of those tools. So I'll be using the dynamite. Now, what the dynamite does is it lets me negate a requirement. And in this case, there was only one requirement, a 1. And so I use my dynamite. I'm going to blast my way into this cavern. It's an easy one to get into. So on these others, I can negate a single requirement if I were next to those. So you can only break into caverns that you have a miner adjacent to. So this is the only cavern I could get into. I'm using my dynamite and I'm going to blow it up. So I didn't roll a 1, but that's okay because I have a dynamite. Okay, so this is what it looks like flipped over. It's got 11 and a 10, and I'll explain what those are and how they work right now. So when you break into a cavern, you'll notice now I have an entry into it. You have to move a miner into it. And that's it for me right now, breaking into caverns. Now, your mining roll does a second thing. You use it to break into caverns, and then you use it to collect gems. Now, I have a total of 7 here. If one of these corners had gems in it and a number 7, I would be able to take a gem for that corner. So if I'd rolled a 10 instead, and I had my miner in here with a 10 and a 10 on these dice total, then I'd be able to take a ruby from that corner. But there's no 7, so I don't get to collect anything. So that's the end of that round. So that's exactly how the rounds go from here forward. So let's go ahead and do it again. So let's see here. We roll for the value of the gems, and I think that's a little better value, but not a huge difference. So there we go. Now each of the gems has their own kind of strengths to them, and you'll learn them as you go. Knowing that kind of helps with your planning and what you're spending, when, and why. Okay, so that's the value. I'm not going to buy anything yet. So remember, buy, move, mine. So I'm not going to buy. So move. There's I'm going to go ahead and move. I forgot to grab an item on my way out. So let's go ahead and see if I could. I was going to see if I could get in and get an item and get back out, but not going to happen with a roll of 1 because I would move in and I'd be stuck there, and I'd rather be out here mining. So I'll move on my next turn. So we're going to go ahead and mine. So I rolled a 6 and a 3, and let's see here. So I rolled a 6. I might as well move that way. So I meet that requirement. So let's go ahead and open that up. And we'll place it that way. You get to choose how you place your caverns as you break into them. So if you break into a cavern, you have to move your miner in the direction of the into that new cavern. I rolled a 9, and there's no 9s in those corners, so I don't collect. And that's the end of that round. So let's go ahead and roll for another value. We're back to the 1. 1 and 6 are not the best gem values. I'm not going to buy. I will try to move. So I rolled a 3. I'm going to do it. So let's see here. I'm going to move 1, 2. I'm going to give this miner number 1, the map, and 3. Move out. So your move is split between all of your miners that are out. So if you have 2 miners, you might move them 1, 2, 3, or whatever. In this case, I moved into my base, my home base, my claim card, and I took the map that's just sitting in here and I placed it in miner number 1's inventory slot. Each miner can carry 1 item, and it's placed on that slot, and you have to, when you pick up, you have to be wherever that item is. So you can go to another miner and pass inventory, or you could come back to your base and pick up an inventory item, but 1 item per miner. Okay, so I moved in, got my map, moved back out. Now we're going to try mining again. Okay, cool. So I rolled a 2 and a 6. So a 2 and a 6. Now, the map lets you do something kind of like the dynamite to help you break into caverns. A little bit different, though. So if you remember, the dynamite, if I had that, I could just negate that 3 and break in. But I don't have a dynamite because I used it, so I'm going to have to buy that to get that back. But I do have a map on my number 1 miner. Now what the map does is it lets me change the value of a dice. And so I'm going to take the 6, use the map, and change it to a 3. So now the value is 2, 3. And I can break into this cavern. Now just a note, when you're playing with a group, nobody collects gems until the person whose turn it is has decided if they're going to use a map to change the value. Now that I've changed it, this 5 is what everybody would collect their gems off of. So let's see, I'm going to go ahead and break into this now. Oh, and look at that. There's a 5 in here. I'm going to turn it this way. That way I have quick access that way. I already have access to that pretty easily. So, okay. So we move the miner in. There's a 5 in that corner. So I get to collect because this 2 and 3 equals 5. So I collect a gem. And that's the end of that round. Let's go ahead and roll for a new value. Okay, it's 5. So this should be better than anything we've had so far this game. All right. Excellent. Okay, so I'm going to use these 3 gems here. This one's worth 100, a 50, a 50 right now for a total of 200. I'm going to trade those in. I'm going to bring my number 2 miner in. And yeah. Okay, so remember, buy, move, and mine. So I did my buy phase and I hired a miner. And now I'm going to move. We'll put this lantern on the number 2 guy and go 1, 2 out. I had a movement of 5, but 2 was all I needed to use. Okay, so I got both miners in that cavern, and we are mining. Okay, so I rolled a 5 and a 2. There's no 7 in any of those corners, so nothing to collect this time. Into that round, so let's roll for a new value. A 1 again. Okay, so there's that. I'm not going to move. I'm just going to mine. Okay, a 5 and a 1. So this 1 would not work to break into that. It has to be the white one. Okay, and I have no tools to manipulate the numbers of the dice, so I can't break into anything else using that 5. But I have a 6 here, and it's a sapphire, and I have a total of 6 here, so I'm going to go ahead and mine those gems out. Now my number 2 character has this lantern on him. And what the lantern does is you could place it in the cavern you're in, and your miners collect double the gems with that lantern in there. Now, this miner and this miner both already collect a gem each from this blue cavern, or this blue pocket of sapphires right here. And so with a total of 6, each of them are going to pull from that cavern. But with the lantern down, they're each going to pull another gem each, another sapphire each. So awesome find on that one. Now, the lantern has a lot more power in a multiplayer game because when you place this lantern, it stays down until the beginning of your next turn. And so, because my turn is next, this is just going to go off now. All right, so let's see here. Let's roll for a new value of those gems. It's a 1 again. My precious sapphires are worthless right now. Let's go ahead and roll again. Okay, so I rolled a 2 and a 2 for a total of 4. Now, when you roll a doubles, something significant happens. This is one of the conditions that brings your cavern closer to collapsing. So each time you roll a doubles, you're going to turn this claim card. And once it turns around 360 degrees 4 times, the cavern collapses and you got to get your miners out. So doubles is one of the things, and the other one that brings the cavern down is if you break into a cavern that has 2 openings. And so doubles or 2 opening caverns causes this to turn. Once it turns 4 times, everything comes crashing down. Now, if I roll doubles, nobody else, if you're playing with other people, nobody else turns their claim card. It's just whoever rolled the doubles, whoever broke into the 2 opening cavern, that's the person that turns their card. So you're going to want to watch other people and see how close they are to bringing down the whole cavern for everybody. Okay, so let's look at my number here. 2 and a 2. There's nothing I can do with this. I don't have any tools to manipulate the dice, and I don't have a 4 in any of these corners, and so that's the end of that round. Let's roll and hope I get something. Those gems go up in price. A 3. Let's see what that is. Okay, so emeralds are pretty good right now. I'm going to go ahead and use my emerald to buy back my map. And it starts off right there in my base, my headquarters, my claim card. And then I'm going to roll for movement. A 5. I love it. Okay, so we're going to move my number 1 miner back. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And mining. Okay, if only that had been a black 6. So, okay, so lots of options. I'm not gonna think. I'm not gonna go through all the things I'm thinking. I'm just gonna explain the one I choose. So I am going to map the 6 to a 2. Now, just so you know, and make note of it, if when I roll those doubles, the 2-2, you can't map the doubles you roll to not be doubles to avoid the claim card from turning. So once you roll doubles, you turn the claim card, and then you can map it and do whatever you want with it, but it always takes effect. And if I changed, if I change this to a 4-4, it doesn't force the claim card to turn. Just something to note with the map. So I use my map to change that number to a 2. I think, what was it, like a 6 or something? So I changed that number to a 2. So now I have a 2 here and a 4 here. I'm not breaking into anything. I used the map to change that to that number so that my miners can collect those 2 sapphires. I really like sapphires a lot, and so I am looking to collect them, and hopefully they'll go up in value and I'll be able to spend a ton of them to get a lot of different things. Okay, so 2 sapphires, and that's the end of that round. So we roll now. Oh, a 1 again. Very unlucky. It'll happen though, you watch. Those sapphires are going to go up. I feel it. Okay, here we go. Mining. Okay, 4 and a 1 for a 5. Go ahead and grab 2 rubies. This mine is proving to be pretty valuable so far. I'm going to go ahead and trade in some of these 3s for the big boys. There we go. So I got a little bit more organized setup there. Okay, so that's the end of that. Oh, 1 again. Unbelievable. Okay, not moving. We're mining. Okay, I rolled a 4 and a 1 again, so that's another 2 rubies. And come on, change the value. A 2. Interesting. Still not super useful. I'm gonna use these 2 rubies. It's kind of a waste, I think, maybe, but it's okay, to buy a map, because I really want to be able to manipulate the dice. Okay, movement. 3. It's enough. So he's gonna go 1, 2, throw it on my number 2 guy, 3, and he'll be parked right there because I can't get him all the way back. But now I got a map, so I can manipulate the dice a little. Okay, mining. Oh, nice. Okay, so I got a black 6 and a white 2. So I'm so glad that even though it was a little bit of a waste to use these as 50s, I'm glad I got the map, because my number 2 guy is now going to use that map to change that 2 to a 1. So now I have the requirements to get into this cavern here. My number 1 guy is going to be moving up into that cavern. It is a 2 opening cavern, so that means I have to turn my claim card once. So we're halfway there. This is a total of 7, and there's a 7 right there, so I'm going to grab a gem and throw that there. And that is that. Okay, something else to note real quick. There is a limit to how many miners can be in one cavern pulling out gems. So if you have a cavern that has an opening, 2 openings, 2 miners can be pulling gems out of there. It's the first 2 miners in, those are the miners that get to pull out of it. There are caverns that have 1 opening, so only 1 miner in there can pull out gems. And you can have all 3 of your miners in there, but only 1 of them gets to pull gems. Okay, let's set a new value. 5. Still not my oh, it is the sapphire one. Excellent. Okay, this is a great time for me now. So let's see here. I'm just gonna go crazy now. let's see here. I'm going to buy that. I'll buy that. And I'm going to buy everything. Okay, so I've got my 2 gems to get that guy, my 2 gems for the cart, and 3 sapphires to get all of those. So we are fully stocked up. This is what I was talking about. I was just waiting for those sapphires to go up in value. So now we are fully loaded. I've used up all my gems almost, though. I really think it'll pay off, though. We'll see here. Okay, so movement. I could really use a big movement right now. Let's see. Oh, 1. Okay. Well, that's okay. I have my cart. Now what a cart does is it lets me put an item in the cart, or a person, a miner could go in it as well. And during the move, the cart can go from one point to another during that turn's movement. And then on your next movement, you can move it back or whatever. But from point A to point B is what it does. And it doesn't cost any of your movement to do that. And so I move the cart out there, and I'm going to move that dynamite from the cart to miner number 1. I'm going to put the map into miner number 3, and miner number 3 is going to use this 1 movement to move out. Okay, so that's my movement. Time to mine. Oh, right. No, I was thinking it was going to be perfect for breaking into that, but not quite. Okay, so it's a 7. I'm just going to take it. So I've got a 7 right there, so I get to collect 1 little sapphire. And that's the end of that. Okay, so we roll for a new value. 4, beautiful. Let's see here. So this is the best. If I wanted to, I could be using those rubies now to buy up stuff, but there's nothing to buy because I own it all. All right, so no buying. Movement, I am definitely going to move, if I can, a 3. Let's see. Yeah, I'll move the number 2 guy in, so that's 1 movement. And I'm going to take that lantern, and then I'll move number 2, we'll go, so this is 1, 2, 3. Okay, and I'll move the cart back. Will I move the cart back? Yes, I will. Yeah. There's something better that I could have done, but that's okay. Okay, I rolled a 7 again. I'm just going to take it as it is. So 7 there. Okay. Value 2. Movement. Who's this dynamite? Number 1's got the dynamite. Oh, goodness. This whole time I could have. Ooh, a 6. That's great. Move that one there. So that was 1, 2, 3. All right. So again, there's 2 openings, 3 miners in here. Only 2 of them get to collect, but I will break into that cavern no matter what this turn. So let's do this. Okay, I rolled a 4 and a 3. Now what I'm going to do is my number 1 miner is going to negate that requirement using the dynamite. And my number 3 miner is going to change the value of that to a 1 using a map. Okay, so dynamite and map used to break into this cavern. Let's see what we've got. All right, so we got a nice dead end with those beautiful emerald ruby cavern. Let's see here. And I'll move in miner number 1 in. All right, so we've got a total of 5. No 5s, no 5s, no collecting this time. Okay, that was good. Okay, let's set our new value. 4, yes, beautiful. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and use this ruby. It's worth 3 of these little ones. Let's go ahead and just break it down so I can see what I've got. I will buy up, I'll buy a map. Want a map again? Okay. Movement, I'm not even going to bother moving. Or will I? Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, let's do it. Number 3 guy. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Pick up the map. 4, 5, 6. Okay, this could be an awesome round here. Rolling, doing my mining. Okay, I got an 8. I gotta decide if that's really what I want. It's not what I want. I'm gonna go ahead and use the map. So number 3 guy is gonna use his map to change this 5 to a 3. That gives me a total of 6. Remember, changing it to doubles doesn't affect this at all. So I now have a 6. Number 2 guy's got a lantern. He's gonna throw the lantern down. So now my 2 guys in there that would collect 2 sapphires are going to collect 4 sapphires out of this room. So both of them collecting 1 from that corner, plus the lantern means they're collecting 2 from that corner. This miner's over here, and both of these corners have a 6. So he's going to collect 2 rubies. So I got a whole pile of gems coming over now. I'm going to trade up some of these. Okay. And we'll just keep those broken. That comes off. Okay. Let's do another values at 1. Not too fantastic. Let's go ahead and mine away. Okay, so I rolled a 2 and a 2, which means this turns, and we are now 1 turn away from this collapsing. So, gotta be careful now. Okay, so a 4 here, so I get 2 sapphires from that. I'm gonna go ahead and trade up those. And a 4 there, so I get an emerald. Great to see a different color in there other than red and blue. Okay, let's see what the roll for a new value. We're getting very close now. Pressure's on. Okay, so a 5. I'm going to go ahead and buy, using my sapphires, I'm going to buy that lantern and the map again. I will cart out the map. So I'm going to put the map in the cart out the map to my number 1 guy. And I'm going to, just so you know, for the rest of this game, I'm probably going to leave that cart right there because the next turn could be the one that collapses everything. And by having the cart out there, this miner can hop in it and get out real quick. Okay, so I carted out the map to that guy. Now I'm going to roll my move to see if I can get one of these guys back. 2 isn't enough for me to move one of those guys out, so we're going to stay right where they're at. Okay, let's roll. Okay, a 2 and a 3 for a 5. That gets me nothing. I'm going to go ahead and map. So number 1 guy is mapping. He's going to map the 2 to a 3 to get a 6. And that gives me 2 rubies from that one, and it's going to give me 2 sapphires from that one. And I'll trade up this for another big red one. Okay. Now, value. It's 2, not too hot. And movement, see if I can get back there and grab that lantern. A 4, that's enough for me, so we can move the number 2 guy. 1, 2, 3. Move that to him, and 4. Okay, and mining. Okay, a 7. Nothing to manipulate the dice, but that's okay. I've got a 7 there and a 7 there. So we're going to collect a sapphire and a emerald. We'll trade up this one because I love the way those big ones look. Okay, and that is the end of that round. A 1. Okay, and movement. Get my number 2 guy back up there. Plenty. 1, 2. And mine. Oh, okay, there it is. So 5 and 5. for a total of 10, which nobody gets to collect on that. And my cavern is now collapsing. Okay, so this is the end of the game. Now, the way this last round works is every player gets a chance to get all of their miners out. You're going to roll both dice for your movement. And let's go ahead and do that. Oh, that is killer. That is horrible. Okay, so the way this works is this miner can hop in the cart, because if you remember, a cart can carry a person or an item, and it could carry a person that's carrying an item as well, so that's fine too. So this miner is going to get out in the cart. So that miner is out and safe. I've got a movement of 3 to get these other guys out. I'll leave those there. So I really like miner number 3. So we're going to move him out. 1, 2, 3. And miner number 2 gets left behind. Now the price for leaving a miner behind is currently 3 gems, and so you lose one of your big ones for each miner that you have left behind. So I like my sapphire though, so I'm going to give up a ruby for my number 2 guy. Maybe cost of insurance, or the breaking in and saving him maybe costs that ruby. I'm not sure what, you can decide what the cost is going towards. Okay, so I've got my miners out now. I've paid my price for leaving one of them behind. But everybody's out. That is how the flow works. Now, totaling up, you're looking at total gems, you're not worried about the price anymore. And so this is 3, 6, 9, 10, 13, 14. So I got a score of 14 this round, or this time I've played. When you play with a big group, you're going to be pulling in a lot more gems. And that's because the odds of this rotating and collapsing the cavern doesn't go up with more players, because each person is, their chance of that is independent from everybody else. But everybody else is mining. The total number means that you're pulling gems each person's turn. So if you have 4 players, you have 4 turns of collecting gems and only 1 turn of this rotating. So you're able to collect a ton more. So you'll score a lot higher. But single player, I've been scoring about this every time. So that's 14, not bad for solo play. Now, if you want to, there's a ton of ways of customizing this game. You could play that at the very end, you roll, and whatever that is, that sets the value of the gems, and that is how you're scored. It's a bit more complicated because you have to know the strengths of these and which ones you'd want to hang on to and which ones you'd want to spend during the game. So a lot more advanced gameplay and a little bit more risky. This can be set up all sorts of different ways, and in future videos I'll show you some different ways of setting it up. We also play some that are exploring, so you start off with just your claim and you're adding on caverns in different directions, and the thing kind of builds itself out. So another very neat way to play, and that's coming up in a future video. So I hope you enjoyed The Greatest Claim. Like I said, this is probably my favorite game in the world, and stay tuned for more of The Greatest Claim and our other games. Have a fantastic day and go play something fun, and we'll see you next time.